Hello everyone, AJ here. So you ever have that one show where it has this one amazing and emotional episode rather early on in its run, and you stick around thinking there'll be more like it, only to be disappointed when it never does? In my case, that show was Shake It Up when they tried to deal with one of the characters having dyslexia. Now I know there are other shows that it was actually able to do a lot better job both covering what dyslexia is and actually able to show what it feels like, but I wanted to review this particular episode for a while because it really does a good job in what it's trying to do. Definitely hits a lot of notes and there's no time to waste, so let's get to it. This is Dislex It Up. And yes, I know the episode's name is technically called Add It Up, but everyone I know just called it Dislex It Up. And on that note, even though dyslexia is actually a twist, I personally think the episode works a lot better if you do know about the dyslexia rather than not. So we begin at the studio where this show premise centers around, as we see our two leads, Rocky and Cece, doing their thing, when Cece's mom comes in mentioning how Cece's grades are low, and while not the best foreshadowing, for what it is, it's pretty decent. And then we cut to the B plot, which has actually nothing to do with the dyslexia, but I figure it's worth talking about just because it's as good, if not necessarily better, than the main plot. As we see, I guess the antagonist of the series, it's kind of hard what to say about these two other than they're just kind of Cece and Rocky's rivals. But anyway, Goofer and Tinka, as Tinka is fawning over a boy.
No problem, Tinker Bear. I will take you on the date. No!
Normally I never found these two funny, but they do a rather nice job in this particular episode. And for the most part, we see Goofer as a rather protective yet very supportive big brother, only wanting to make his sister happy.
Like we're going to grow up and get married. You do know we're not going to grow up and get married, right?
Not that in any way I know what he's going through. Quiet, you! I'm trying to make a point. Anyways, this leads Goofer to tracking down one of the show's supporting characters, Ty, and...
What do you think of my sister?
She's a whack job with good hair.
Perfect. You'll not get all grabby handy when you take her on a date.
A date? Dude, not for $1 million.
About 50.
Done.
This then leads to an arm wrestling part that I don't really care for. Moving back to the main plot, we see Cece hiring a tutor, and being a Disney Channel show primarily aimed at girls, she has to act all girly thinking he might be her dream guy. And then we get some lines from Rocky that kind of highlight the biggest problem of the show. Just how mean-spirited it can be in its humor.
It would be totally inappropriate to date him now.
Which makes me worried if this is where I get some of my pessimism from my friends and family complain about. And yeah, this episode is full of it even if I do love it. Probably not particularly the worst the show has to offer, but still, a series as a whole is probably not the best to show for a young and impressionable mind. Back to the B plot, we see Ty asking Tinka out some...
On one knee and offer my father 25 goats.
comedy, and then the night of the date, we see Tinka actually wanting to make a good impression, which, for what it was built up to, you kind of feel for her, thinking that Ty was only doing this for the money, and it's a shame we don't get to see some time of Tinka getting ready, perhaps going through similar emotional crisis we've seen her with earlier, but instead, we waste it on her brother arm wrestling. Back to Cece, we see that our tutor is going not so well. So after some thought, Henry makes a suggestion to help Cece learn.
Cece, teach me to dance. Show me a few steps.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hang on. What were you just doing there? It's...
Math? Math!
I love it when I break through!
In time, I would find more stories that pulled this moral off much better, but what makes it special here is because it actually is a disability that causes the learning problems. But overall, the technique actually starts to work as she begins to show progress, until her little brother screws it all up.
Glenn, you broke my tutor. Rocky, he broke my tutor.
He's not broken. Yo, Rock, see if you can fry us up a little bacon.
Oh, he's broken.
Let's just get back to the date. Arm wrestling, yeah, still stupid, funny clip at the end. So in all honesty, we do get a rather nice date scene. We see Ty and Tinka spend some time talking, forming some strong chemistry, having fun, and it's only in just a few short minutes of screen time. And in all honesty, I think they may have gone to be one of Disney Channel's best couples if they kept it up. Yeah, I said, if they kept it up. Then dumb arm wrestling again, and thankfully we move on to Cece's story as how she deals with the loss of her tutor. Rocky offers to take his place, but...
Freaky boy genius, but I am in honors math. I can teach her. I I doubt you know how to teach dyslexics.
Who's dyslexic?
Cece?
Cece? Stop staring at me. Cece, wait!
First off,
You did not handle that right.
couldn't have said it better. Second, never mind. Now, personally, I've been through a lot of reveals like Cece has in the past, and for the most part, they're able to hit every single note of what it's like when someone finds out you have a disability is like. The initial fear, the shock, the person looking at you differently, the breakdown.
I wake up every day terrified that I might have to read something out loud. I didn't want anyone to know. Why does it even matter? Because people can be mean.
And even to some points of realizing that it might be impossible for you to fulfill your dreams because of your disability.
Rocky, sometimes it affects my dancing. Left and right, they just get jumbled up in my head and I can't do anything about it. Who am I kidding? I'm never going to be as good as any of the other dancers.
It honestly hits every single note it should.
You know what? Everyone has some kind of baggage that they have to carry around their whole life. What's yours? My enormous feet.
For the most part. And yeah, it is a rather terrifying experience. But you know what? In the end, if they're your true friend, they'll still stick around with you. And this is what makes it, mostly, one of my favorite scenes on television. And then for the rest of the series, we see Cece having to work twice as hard, often causing more problems than most people seem to think she's worth it. But in the end, she's both able to achieve her dream as a professional dancer not only because of her limitations, but because of them. I'm just kidding. They bring it up once or twice in the rest of the show, and then this episode is mostly forgotten. The only thing that continues on from it was Henry, and he wasn't even that funny. And no, those commercials about Bella Thorne talking about how she's actually dyslexic doesn't count. But don't get me wrong, it's great that she actually was able to promote it and able to help a lot of other people dealing with it, but I wanted to see more about it in the show. I wanted to see this character overcome her disability. It was almost like that afterward they were kind of ashamed to even talk about it within the show, so instead they just put it in their commercials. In all honesty, it kind of ruins what was otherwise an amazing episode. And sadly, it kind of is the reason why I don't actually recommend this series. The dyslexia conflict is never brought back, we never see Ty and Tinka go on another date. Again, the humor is really mean-spirited, and it's probably not the best for someone with a young and impressionable mind to see. But hey, they made a great episode on someone revealing their disability to a friend, so I guess the series wasn't a total loss.